Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything in gaming. There's a lot of opportunity to learn how to develop and make games no matter how big of a team that you have. Like me, myself, I could sit down and learn how to use Unity from my computer and have the luxury of, creating a game from the comfort of my own desk, which I'm not going to because I don't have the necessary skill points to even learn that kind of sorcery. So, just gonna stick to what I know. But even if developers find success in their own right with developing their own games, sometimes, they might want to expand their horizons or even find some of the funding behind some of the biggest industry names like Take-Two Interactive, which is one of the biggest publishing companies that we have in gaming to date. And, even for some people consider this the biggest publishing that we have right now just because of, them being behind Rockstar Games and their obvious, prestigious Grand Theft Auto titles. But they even got freaking 2K Interactive games with their money glitch ass 2K games that they release every year. But that's neither here nor there. Back in 2017, Take-Two Interactive, they formed their own indie publishing label to house these smaller to mid-budget sized games named Private Division, which housed obviously some really substantial games like Kerbal Space Program and The Outer Worlds, a team that saw a lot of praise and success. But even some more games that they have under their belt coming next year with Tales of the Shire and No Rest for the Wicked. But the reason that I'm even talking about Private Division right now is because earlier today it was shared by the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, Strauss Zelnick, that they finally decided to sell this studio to an unnamed publisher following the aftermath of what happened earlier in the year, where two of the studios under Private Division got shuttered down, with that being Intercept Games, which is behind Kerbal Space Program, and another lesser known studio with Row 7 being behind the title of Roller Dome. Now, this was all brought to light not only in the latest earnings report for Take-Two Interactive for this quarter of the year, but also in this Variety interview with Strauss Zelnick himself, which, if you guys never heard of Strauss Zelnick, this dude, he's the jacked-ass guy that looks like he belongs on the cover of Men's Health Monthly. Like, let me show you guys. Freaking look at him, man. Look at this guy. Man saw Brucey from Grand Theft Auto 5 in one of his games and just said, I need that. Anyway, Zelnick disclosed that, we made the strategic decision to sell our Private Division label so we could focus on our resources on growing our core business for the long term. But they still plan to support, obviously the unreleased games that they have coming later next year, like Tales of the Shire. So they're still going to support with that release. Now, the whole downfall of, the Private Division label, in recent memory kind of started with the release of Kerbal Space Program 2, when it's really wonky launch and a full price tag that they charge for the game, and a lot of players just having a bad taste in their mouth after that sequel game not living up to its standard that they hoped it would be. And the developer behind that game, like I said, was Intercept Games. So after that whole situation, we had the whole thing of Take-Two Interactive saying that they're going to be laying off a percentage of their workforce, and then they said that Intercept Games and Row 7 aren't shuttered. We didn't shutter those studios. Strauss Zelnick said this himself in response to the assumed closures of Row 7 and Intercept Games. He said that we didn't shutter those studios, to be clear, which we found out like not even a week or two later that they did in fact shutter those studios based on the documents of their internal reports. So it was just a weird time for this studio, to which people just didn't know exactly what to make of Row 7 Intercept Games, which I made a couple videos during that time period, talking shit. But the whole Private Division label has just been in a weird spot since this all kicked off to where it is now, to where they finally announced that they've sold this company for an undisclosed amount to an undisclosed company. Now, there were talks that they were having some sort of discussion with an equity firm as far as who they could possibly be selling the studio to, but like I said, we don't know who this mystery buyer may be. But in a way, you can kind of understand why Take-Two Interactive is shifting their focus of business away from a label that's not doing what they're hoping it could have done, at least monetary wise, from what we can see, because 2025 is probably going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest year for Take-Two, with obviously Grand Theft Auto 6, the new Mafia game, their freaking money glitch, their yearly money glitch title of the NBA 2K games, and even WWE, which is an actual good game. Plus, they recently just bought out Zynga, and I don't know if it's Entertainment or Interactive, whatever it is, but that's a mobile game developer, to which they said they have plans for putting games on the mobile platform. So there's going to be a lot of shifts in business for Take-Two Interactive coming 2025, and also Borderlands 4, that's also a good ass game too. So yeah, it sucks that the studios of Intercept Games and Row 7 were shut down in the process of all this, but hopefully the new home of Private Division will find a way to make it a really good team and highlight the developers' talents going forward. But We have to wait to see on that. And speaking of earnings report, because, we all do love to just, pocket watch some of the biggest studios that, cause us the most financial pain, Nintendo has shared the latest earnings report for this quarter of the year. Now, in this 17-page PDF file, they basically share, the innings of what they've been making as far as profits and whatnot, and, what games are performing and how well they're performing. And as you can see, they've been going down as far as profits, at least in this quarter compared to how they were in quarter 1 and 2 for last year. At least if you want to categorize a downturn going from 796 billion yen to only 523 billion, either way, what the fuck. So we have that, and that's really the basis of what we can see in all these sales. It's just down by a percentage because, it's not a big time for obviously Nintendo right now, since the late period of their Nintendo Switch console going into the Switch 2. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is still selling well, obviously with it being the latest first party game that we have from Nintendo, and even Mario Kart 8 is still selling crazy. Like, this game is damn near older than the target demographic for the Nintendo Switch console, and it's still selling 2.3 million units in this quarter. So, bravo to them. Anyways, that's all cool and all, but the highlight of all this, being announced is the fact that Shintaro Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, as he stated that the earnings report was live, he also stated that at their latest corporate management policy briefing, they announced that the Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch, which means that backwards compatibility is finally confirmed, and also that Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor too. So paid membership and backwards compatibility has finally been, officially announced for the Switch, which, we pretty much could have guessed that was going to be a feature. At least if it wasn't, people were going to riot over not having backwards compatibility, especially with the general thought that their next console is going to be a Switch 2, just an improved version of the console that we already have. And even the fact that we're getting this many first party games still releasing on the tail end of the Nintendo Switch lifespan. So it would kind of be a weird thing to have to force players to buy Mario and Luigi Brothership twice just to experience it on the current Nintendo Switch and the next generation, even though people would likely, do that because, Nintendo diehards don't really care. But yeah, I am glad that this news was confirmed for the next Nintendo console. Now, all we have to wait for is them to finally reveal this shit so that we don't have to freaking deep dive into all these tweets and statements and all of these, godforsaken rumors that have a spawn point of just no end. And lastly, I wanted to briefly talk about Dragon Age The Veilguard, the game, which has been out for about a week now, or a couple of days at least, and I've been playing it since the day after launch, and I've been enjoying my time with it. Obviously here I got the video that I posted of me playing it for my first impressions and whatnot, but I told you guys that when I first started playing it, I was going to give you my thoughts on the game and how it compares to Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a game that I really enjoy playing a lot. And halfway through the story, I gotta say that it's a fine game. I don't think it's better than Inquisition. I think Inquisition still has a hair over it just because of its core CRPG style of gameplay that I feel like the Veilguard kind of lacks. But as its own thing, like if you separate Veilguard from the first 2 or 3 releases, Veilguard is a fine game, a hack and slash type of game to play on its own. Like, the story is fun, the gameplay is fun, it's satisfying enough to want to play it. I come home from work wanting to play this game, but I just don't think that it warrants all the negative and review bombing feedback that we've been seeing these last couple of days for the game. I think it's a fun single player game just to play as its own thing. When you compare it to its predecessors, yeah, you probably can see the differences, like how you can't control all of your companions and all of their distinct actions and whatnot, but I still think that it's fun. I got a mage build, obviously, and I've just been maxing out all of the runes and shit that I've been finding and making them as cool as possible. As you can see, I got him right here. His name is Rook in the game, but his actual name is Vitiligo Wizard, because But yeah, do I think that it warrants the $59.99 price tag on PC at least? I'm not sure if it's $69.99 on console. I think it is, but for 60 or 70, I think you should probably wait. Now, I do kind of agree that the gameplay is safe as far as like gameplay or in story. Like, this is something you probably haven't played before in some shape or form. So just because of that, I would say wait for like a sale or like a cut in price, or even just, I don't condone it, but if you find another means to play this game, do that. And yeah, man, that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the video, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.